The programme is very much designed at understanding the everyday nature of negotiation, improving our ability to get the best for us, but also try to get the best for the other party, because if we want ongoing relationships, we need to make sure we satisfy the other party's needs. So it's developing understanding of people's needs, developing understanding of the repertoire approaches available to you. As a one-day programme, we still try to kind of use the philosophy that underpins a lot of exec ed CAS, and that's that it's primarily an experiential programme. So we cover some if you like, some theory around negotiation, but we spend far more time practicing that. So we have some role plays, some negotiation situations, a series of simulations that encourage you to think about your own behaviour. We also start from the position of trying to identify people's dominant approach, and we all have a dominant approach. So some people are more likely to be accommodating in negotiation situations, some people are likely to be more uncompromising, and some people are always looking to avoid conflict situations and negotiations, and other people are looking for generative solutions, thinking outside the immediate problem. If we have a tendency towards a particular way of negotiating, we tend to carry that through irrespective of the situation. So part of the challenge is to develop greater self-awareness around our negotiation style, and to start to appreciate the impact it has on others, and to start to develop the tactical behaviours that are required to achieve desired outcomes. With some sort of, if you like, records, develop a kind of critical log, a reflective log of the challenges you face. And I think that's twofold. I think the first thing to do, and we set this up with people, is to think about the various types of negotiation situations they find themselves in. Because sometimes, as I said a bit earlier, that we don't actually think of lots of what negotiation situations as a negotiation. So in that sense, what types of situations do you face? What's your type of response to those? How comfortable and unhappy do you feel about the outcomes? Are they good outcomes, negative outcomes? Are there some situations you feel better at than others? So if you like, the preparatory work is diagnostic. On the programme, we'd look to then focus on those particular needs. I think this programme appeals to anyone that's in a situation where they, in a work context, where they face regular negotiations. So that could be regular negotiations with clients, contractors, so it could be external parties. It could be negotiations across disciplines, and so in one sense, for example, negotiations required between something like R&D and production, or indeed between HR and finance. There's an ongoing, with line managers, an ongoing process of barter and negotiation and striking deals and achieving various outcomes. So in that sense, I think it's one of those programs that's really suited to anyone that's in some sort of organisational position that requires regular outcome-driven forms of negotiation where there's real consequences to the decisions they're taking. We don't suggest there is one ideal, above all, best strategy for negotiation. It's about understanding the richness of alternatives. It's about matching the style and the tactics to the situation in front of you, and the situations will vary considerably. Sometimes it's important to win, other times it may not be so. Sometimes it's important to strike a deal, other times it may be better to walk away. Sometimes it may be better to think outside the immediate problem and think outside the box to create very creative solutions to problems. It's about picking the type of issue and the type of behaviours that fit that issue. I think the immediate outcomes from attending the programme are that you are able to kind of read negotiation situations perhaps in a more informed and subtle and sophisticated way than you previously would have done before the programme, because you have some templates and some strategies for dealing with those various situations. So in that sense, I think it's about having that knowledge to then apply in a range of situations. I would say though that you're still going to get it wrong sometimes, but that getting it wrong will help you to know why you've got it wrong, because you understand the strategies and the tactics around effective negotiation. And by even being able to reflect on why you got it wrong post-programme will help you to improve in other situations. So in other words, you get to understand the complexity of the situations, but also the techniques available to you, and you learn to match those effectively. I actually think it's a bit like, the analogy I would use, it's like learning to drive. We learn to drive actually after we've passed our test, but you need to go through the test because you need to know how gear stick works and where the brakes are, etc. This course, through an experiential process, just like learning to drive, will enable you to develop those repertoire of skills, tactics and abilities. Then the process of driving subsequently and honing your driving is something you do afterwards. So I expect negotiation behaviour to improve exponentially after the programme because you have all the building blocks and basics in place. I think someone should attend this programme if they're keen to develop an ability to negotiate more effectively. In other words, if they feel that they're not getting the outcomes they desire from their interactions with other parties where there's competing interests or conflicting interests, then the programme is suited to them. So if they feel that they're not getting where they should get and the outcomes that they desire through in a range of work contexts, then I think this programme is very much for them. Hopefully it will improve their ability to manage a range of situations that impact upon them at work in a more effective way.